Buddhism originates in India, and it will be here that we develop the pattern for the image of Buddha. We also develop monumental architecture for Buddhism, and that would certainly incorporate the stupa. And in addition to that, there is an important development for images of the Bodhisattva. And we're looking at one of the most often reproduced depictions of Bodhisattvas in the entire planet, and it does come from India. This is figure 3.14 in O'Reilly. As Buddhism spreads, it is going to grow into the greater vehicle. And along with that, there is going to be an increased importance in the role of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva, again, is this very loving creature who forsakes Buddhahood, who forsakes nirvana in order to stay here with us to help us. These beings are compassionate and caring, and they would do anything to alleviate our pain and our suffering. They are the best parallel I can give you. They are a little bit like guardian angels. This bodhisattva is one of the world's most famous and most beloved, not just in this painting, but the figure that is actually being represented. I know this bodhisattva by the name Avalokiteshvara or Avalokiteshvara. The figure is also known in China as Guan Yin. It is a bodhisattva essentially of great compassion and love for humans. And I think you can even read that in the expression of the figure. This is an image, despite its spiritual nature, that I would like to argue has a kind of sensual quality to its form. It is in a tribhanga, this kind of triple bend posture. The gender of our figures, our bodhisattvas, tend towards being neutral. So I can't specifically say this is male, this is female. I can only say this is bodhisattva. The bodhisattva holds a lotus, and it is held right here. The lotus, of course, is again a flower much used as a symbol in Hinduism and Buddhism, referencing the perfection that we hope to attain through our hard work. This bodhisattva also has a set of jewels on a crown or on a tiara on the bodhisattva's head. And the bodhisattva also is bejeweled, including, if we look at this, this is a sacred thread of seed pearls. Sacred threads appear in Hindu art as well, and it references a piece of jewelry that is given, or a thread itself that is given to someone who has studied with a master and come to learn and to know and understand. There's a smoothness to the figure, flowing lines. The figure is also very flat and it is an outlined form, but it is elegant. It's very gentle. Typical of Buddhist imagery in general, there's a calm expression on the face. The eyes tend towards being semi-closed, and you can think of that in two ways. One is for this figure to look down at us, and we'll see in a minute that that's exactly what it's doing, as if to assist us, to help to ease our suffering and our anxieties. The semi-closed eyes also may reference the ability of the bodhisattva to shut out the concerns as well as the distractions of the world. So, this figure then is incredibly spiritual, otherworldly, essentially beyond what would be considered to be the illusions of this world. Gentle and definitely a compassionate individual. Whoops, I almost left out, and this is good art. This is the site where our Bodhisattva is located. This is a Buddhist enclave of about 30 rock-cut caves, somewhere created 2nd century BC to 7th century CE. So this was used for a very long period of time by a Buddhist community. And in these caves that were created, there are paintings and sculpture basically crafted into the side of a cliff. This became overgrown in time and fell into disuse. As I think we know by now, Buddhism ceases to be important in India, but it spreads from India and becomes incredibly important in countries, especially countries beginning with China, going essentially to the east and spreading from there. These caves are rediscovered accidentally in the early 19th century, again by the British, and they have been examined and studied. And of our information, again, the most amazing in terms of beauty is our image of this Bodhisattva of compassion. This is an interior view, and you can get a little bit of a sense that this figure would, in fact, be above you. This is a doorway right next to that figure, and if you come in, you could stand below the figure. So the figure would look at you, and you would have a real sense of connection and a sense that that figure is caring for you and protecting you. I wanted to share with you two particularly beautiful Chinese bodhisattvas. From India, Buddhism will go along the Silk Route and it will grow and develop in China. As it does so, and we'll pick up on this later, but as it does so, it is going to develop to suit Chinese aesthetics and ideas. And you're looking at two very, very fine quality images of Chinese carved and cast bodhisattvas. Again, my definition of bodhisattva is a very compassionate and caring individual who has given a vow of universal love. In other words, actually promising not to take nirvana or liberation or release, whatever you want to call it, until all sentient beings are saved from suffering. This means that the Bodhisattva has made a commitment, essentially, to stay here on earth and help you and me. These are figures, then, that are very compassionate, loving, caring, and it's easy for a follower to relate to these figures. You can always recognize a Bodhisattva, unlike Buddha. The bodhisattvas are generally depicted as very elegant, both elegant in costuming, but elegant in posture and gesture. If you go over here to the work on the left, one of my favorite design elements in bodhisattvas is this, the long, elegantly extended arm with the long fingers moving into space. So these are figures with elaborate costumes. They're elegant in their poses. They are very courtly and they tend to be androgynous. In other words, it's very difficult to say if they're male, if they're female. Um, from time to time, it will appear that they're male or female, but generally speaking, like angels, these are creatures of neutral gender, easily approached by followers who are men or followers who are women. The poses that the bodhisattvas take are literally often associated with ancient courtly positions and postures, and that's what I've brought Parvati back for. You can see the Hindu goddess Parvati in a courtly pose with one leg lifted up, and it tends to move the body in a slightly off axis position. That lifting of the knee and the leg up on a throne is borrowed by the bodhisattvas. And what that does is to elevate them to a courtly, almost to a princely position. It also adds elegance itself to the posture of the figure.